Welcome to the Spring 2014 Intramural Basketball Captains video for the University of Iowa Intramural Sports. During this video we will talk to you about intramural sports rules and regulations as well as intramural basketball rules and regulations for the Spring 2014 semester. The first thing we want to talk to you about is the eCheckup to Go program. As a partnership with folks across campus, we have created this incentive to intramural sports team members wishing to get a refund of their entry fees. To do so, 75% of a team's final roster must complete the eCheckup to Go assessment and have the results sent to Intramural Sports. If 75% of the team's final roster takes the assessment, the team's registration fee will be refunded to the team captain's U-bill at the end of the intramural basketball season. For more details on this, please visit the Intramural Sports website through Recreational Services or find details on imleagues.com. Our intramural staff consists of the Director of Intramural Sports, Tommy Shore, as well as Intramural Sports graduate assistants Matt McCarthy and Drew Dunley. Matt and Drew are in charge of operating many of our sports and will be in touch with you several times throughout different seasons and different sports depending on what you play. Also on the intramural sports staff are 9 student supervisors. These student supervisors will be at the game sites nightly to help answer your questions and to facilitate that night of sports. If you have any questions about anything related to intramural sports, please find the intramural supervisors or anyone on the intramural staff wearing an intramural staff polo or jacket as well as a name tag, and they will be able to get you answers to the questions as soon as possible. By now you are somewhat familiar with the imleagues.com website as you have made it this far in registration. On the imleagues.com website you can find league announcements. You can make additions to your roster. Once registration is over and we have created schedules, you can find those on imleagues.com, as well as sport rules and information sheets, not only for intramural basketball, but for all of our intramural sports on imleagues.com. To do this, you go to the sport homepage, and on the left, you hover over the sport icon on the left side of the page, and then you click the handbooks and manuals link. You can see what this looks like on the screenshot on the slide, clicking that handbooks and manuals link to get information on that particular sport. And once the intramural basketball season gets going, we will have updated standings and brackets available daily on imleagues.com. Some responsibilities of you as the team captain are to make sure your teammates are eligible, to make sure teammates know sport and program rules and regulations, and if we need to contact you for any reason from the intramural office, you will serve as our contact for your team. In regards to the team roster, to be guaranteed to be on the roster for that night, players must be added to a team's roster by 2 p.m. the day of the game for weekday games and 7 a.m. on Sunday for Sunday afternoon and evening games. So if you need to add somebody to your roster for that night, you must do so by that deadline in order for that person to be eligible to play on your team that night. This process continues throughout the quarterfinal round of the playoffs. So if you continue throughout the season and you make the playoffs, you can continue to add people to your roster as long as they are eligible until the roster deadline the day of your team's quarterfinal playoff game. Throughout the season, make sure you are checking imleagues.com frequently to make sure your roster is current and has no errors. We have had situations in which people leave the university for one reason or another and become ineligible, and captains do not know about it. So make sure you are checking your team roster to check on the eligibility of all your participants. If you need to drop a player for any reason, you can do so using a player drop request form available in E216 Fieldhouse or on the main deck of the Fieldhouse in the intramural cabinet, or you can find those forms on imleagues.com or the Intramural Sports website. Complete that form, turn it into the player drop box outside the Intramural Sports office, or scan it and email it to us. And assuming that person is eligible to be dropped from the team, meaning that person has not played a game on your team, we will get that person dropped from your imleagues.com roster. Who is eligible to play intramural sports? The answer is University of Iowa students, faculty, and staff members, as well as spouses of University of Iowa students, faculty, or staff. So if you are a student, faculty, or staff member and are married, your spouse can play on your team. In order to sign up on your team, a spouse addition form must be completed and submitted to our office. And in intramural basketball, a player may only represent one team in the men's or women's leagues and one team in the co-rec league. For purposes of fraternity and residence hall teams, those are considered to be in the men's league, so a person cannot play on a fraternity team and a men's team, or a residence hall team and a men's team. Once a player enters a team on a second men's or women's or co-rec team, that player is ineligible for the remainder of the season for violation of our policy, and any teams with ineligible players on the roster will forfeit any game in which that player participates. So captains, make sure your players are only playing on the allowed number of team and are not making themselves ineligible and hurting your team. Current intercollegiate athletes cannot participate on an intramural team in their respective sports. So Iowa men's or women's basketball players cannot play intramural basketball. Same for intercollegiate athletes at any other institution. They are not eligible to play in our intramural basketball leagues. Former Division I intercollegiate athletes must be at least 2 full semesters removed from appearing on a Division I roster to participate in intramural sports in his or her related sport. So again, for basketball, if there's an Iowa basketball player, men's or women's, or a Division I player at any other institution, that person must have sat out for 2 full semesters before being eligible for our leagues. In fraternity leagues, the person must be an active member or a prospective member of that organization in order to be able to play for that team. And in the men's residence hall leagues, any current resident of any residence hall can play on a residence hall team. They do not all need to be from the same residence hall. When you get to the Fieldhouse South gym to play, all players must present a university ID card prior to each game to check in. Each player will check in with a scorekeeper on his or her court with his or her university ID. A university ID is also required to enter the Fieldhouse, so make sure all your players have it. No ID equals no play. There are no exceptions to this. Again, captains, remind all your players to bring their university IDs for every game. If someone misuses an ID, uses an ID that is not theirs, that person is subject to suspension from intramural sports, as is the captain of the team and the individual supplying the ID to be misused. Any incidents of this will be reported to the Dean of Students' office, as it is a violation of the Student Code of Conduct, and there may be further university penalties. Any participant that participates in a fight during intramural sports will be suspended from all recreational activities for at least 1 calendar year. There is no leeway with this. Fighting is not tolerated as a part of the intramural sports program, and it will not be condoned, and suspensions will follow. In addition, any of these incidents will be passed along to the Dean of Students' office for possible further sanctions from the university. If any player is ejected from a game, that player will be required, along with the team captain, to meet with an intramural sports staff representative. The ejected participant and the team captain will be ineligible to participate in any intramural event, not just intramural basketball, but any intramural event until after the meeting. And any player ejected for unsportsmanlike conduct will be suspended for at least 1 additional game following the ejection, and sometimes those ejections will be more than 1 game following the meeting. It just depends on the situation. As a part of the University of Iowa intramural sports, we enforce sportsmanship. It is a priority of our program, and we expect this to be a priority of our participants as well. We will have our officials rate teams on a scale of 4 being excellent, 1 being poor, just like a GPA, on their sportsmanship for every contest. Both teams will start each game at a 2.5 rating and can either work their way up to a 3 or a 4 rating, or work their way down to a 2 or a 1, which is not what we want. Any team receiving a 2 will receive an email notifying them of their below average sportsmanship rating and making known to them that they need to improve their sportsmanship during their contests. If any team receives a 1 rating, that team captain will be required to meet with the intramural sports staff prior to that team's next game. And all teams must maintain a 2.5 or better sportsmanship average in order to be eligible for the playoffs, and must maintain that 2.5 or better average to continue playing in the playoffs. All of our games are officiated by student intramural officials. They are your peers. We expect you to treat them with the respect that you expect to receive from them throughout the game. All officials will be trained by our intramural sports staff. They will not be commenting to you when you miss a shot or make a bad pass. Likewise, you are not to be commenting to them and acting in an unsportsmanlike way when you think they missed a call, things like that. If you are interested in being an intramural basketball official, we would certainly welcome you to come out and be a part of our staff. Anyone interested in officiating intramural basketball must attend our rookie meeting if this is the first time you have ever officiated for intramural sports, and the basketball officials rules clinic both on Sunday, January 26th. The rookie meeting starts at 5 p.m. and it is mandatory if you have never worked for intramural sports. The basketball rules clinic begins at 6 p.m. Both are held in room E220 of the field house. Additional mandatory training days for basketball officials are Monday, January 27th at 6:30 p.m. At the field house, we will do some on-court training, and Thursday, January 30th at 6:30 p.m. we will get those officials in some live action scrimmages to feel for the game of basketball as an official. We schedule intramural sports so that the games will be played, so we want to discourage forfeits. Any team not ready within 10 minutes of the scheduled game time will forfeit. The captain of a forfeiting team will be fined half the registration fee, which is $45, and that will be charged to his or her U-bill. If a team forfeits but then plays the remainder of its games, that team will be refunded the forfeit fine at the conclusion of the intramural basketball season. If you know you cannot make a game and you don't want to be fined for a forfeit, you can default. So to avoid a forfeit, you may default. The first time you default, there's no fine. Thank you for letting us know that you won't be there. We can contact the other officials and the other team to let them know that there's no game, and we can take care of all that stuff on the administrative end. The second time you default, well, now we've had 2 games that your team was supposed to play that it isn't, so we need to fine you 25% of the registration fee cost. The third time it happens, captain is fined 50% of the registration fee cost, because at this point you're wasting our time, the other team's time, our officials' time. We schedule these games to be played, so we want to discourage these games from not happening. So, the first time you have to default, we understand there are circumstances which may warrant that. Thank you for letting us know. The second and third time, there will be a fine associated with that. To default, you must declare to the intramural sports staff by 2 p.m. the day of the game for weekday games, or 7 a.m. on Sundays for Sunday games, that you will not be there to play and you want to default. You can do that by contacting Intramural Sports Graduate Assistant Matt McCarthy at matthew-mccarthy@uiowa.edu, or you can call us in the Intramural Sports office at 319-335-9292. When you're out there playing, you may make a protest of a misinterpretation or misapplication of a rule, meaning your team was awarded one free throw instead of 2 free throws. That can be protested. Whether or not it was a foul, whether or not the ball was out of bounds, that is a judgment call, cannot be protested. In order to protest, call a timeout immediately. Tell the officials you want to protest. The sports supervisor working that night will make a ruling after hearing the situation. If you do not agree with that, you can submit a written protest along with $5 to the intramural office by noon the first business day following the game. The director of intramural sports will review the protest and make a ruling. If your protest is upheld, you will receive a refund of that $5 and the game will be continued from the point of the protest. If your protest is denied, we will keep the $5 and the game will stand as was continued to be played the night of the game. In intramural basketball, we have a t-shirt policy. Matching colored team t-shirts with numbers are required. The numbers must be permanent and may not be taped on because athletic tape falls off when players get hot and sweaty. You will choose your team color during registration, and any individuals without a matching team-colored shirt or without a number will not be allowed to participate. So team captains, make sure you are aware of this and can take care. Team schedules will be posted on imleagues.com by Thursday, January 30th after the conclusion of registration. Games will begin on Monday, February 3rd. Once we get towards the end of the season, the top 2 teams in each men's open, fraternity, and residence hall divisions will advance to the men's A playoffs, and the third place team in each men's open, fraternity, and residence hall division will compete in the men's B playoff brackets. The top 3 teams in each women's division will qualify for the women's playoffs, and the top 3 teams in each co-rec division will advance to the co-rec playoffs, and those playoffs will begin after spring break. Once we know our playoff teams, we will have a Buffalo Wild Wings playoff draw. Each captain at this event will select his or her team's position in the playoff bracket. The selection order will be based first on sportsmanship rating. So if you have a 4.0 rating, you will be at the top of the list to select your spot in the bracket. And after sportsmanship rating, we will go to win percentage to determine the selection order. Any teams that do not send a representative to the Buffalo Wild Wings playoff draw will be randomly assigned to the bracket and will forfeit the privilege to request a reschedule of their first round match or any subsequent round. So make sure you mark it on your calendar for Wednesday, March 12th to be at the Buffalo Wild Wings basketball playoff draw at the Buffalo Wild Wings location in downtown Iowa City. Intramural basketball games will be played at the Fieldhouse South Gym, and you must bring a university ID to get into the Fieldhouse facility. Games will consist of 2 14-minute halves with regular basketball clock. Halftimes will be a maximum of 5 minutes. If a game is tied at the end of regulation, we will have overtime. The first overtime period will be 3 minutes. If it's still tied, the second overtime will be sudden death, free throws included. So the first point scored in the second overtime determines the winner. Each team receives 3 full, which are 60-second timeouts for the entire game. 1 additional timeout is granted per overtime period, and any unused timeouts during regulation will also carry over to overtime. For your safety, all jewelry must be removed before the start of the game. If a player is wearing jewelry, that player will receive a technical foul and be asked to leave the court until they can rectify the situation. Make sure you are telling your teammates not to be wearing jewelry when they are playing. This rule is non-negotiable and it's not optional. Only medical alert bracelets and necklaces may be worn, and they must be taped down. Do not tape over earrings or bracelets or anything like that is not medical alert, because those will need to be taken off as well. In intramural basketball, we have a mercy rule. If a team is ahead by 20 points or more at any time during the second half, the clock will run continuously on all dead balls and free throws and everything. If at any time the deficit falls below 20, the clock will stop on all whistles, as is normal basketball timing. Players will receive 5 personal fouls. A player committing 5 will be fouled out after receiving that 5th foul. All personal and player technical fouls will count towards disqualification, will count towards those 5 that are allowed. And any player receiving 2 technical fouls or 1 flagrant technical foul will be ejected from the contest. For free throw shooting, players cannot enter the lane until the ball hits the rim or the backboard. This is the National Federation of High School rules, and it is the rule of our intramural sports program. Substitutes can enter before the last free throw attempt of the sequence, and the lane spaces nearest the end line shall be left empty, as in high school and college basketball. If there's a technical foul, it will result in 2 free throws and the ball at the division line for the offended team, and an intentional foul will result in 2 free throws and the ball at the spot nearest the foul. Some examples of technical fouls are unnecessary roughness, dirty play, foul language, arguing with the officials, things that are unsportsmanlike or unnecessary as a part of our intramural sports basketball league. The offended team again gets 2 free throws and possession of the ball at midcourt. Should there be a team control foul, that is a foul committed by a member of the team that has control of the ball, there will be no free throws, and the offended team will get the ball out of bounds. There's no team control during a jump ball or during a shot attempt, so a foul on a rebound will result in free throws if one team is in the bonus. As far as substitutions, all substitutes must check in. You cannot just run in off the bench regardless of where you are. You cannot just run into the game during a dead ball. You must check in with the scorekeeper. The substitutes will be allowed to enter at the next stoppage of play, but must be beckoned onto the court by an official. So if you're substituting, check in with the scorekeeper, wait to be beckoned by the official, and then you can enter. If you do not follow this process, a technical foul will be called for entering the game illegally. Captains, tell your players not to just run on the court. Make sure they go to the table, stop, check in with the scorer, and get beckoned onto the court by an official. For co-rec basketball, some adaptations will occur. A co-rec team must consist of 3 women and 2 men on the court at one time. To start the game, a co-rec team must have a minimum of 2 women and 2 men. A co-rec team can continue to play with fewer than 5 players with the combinations you can see on this slide. If there are fewer than 5 players, if there are 4 players, you can play with 2 women and 2 men, or 3 women and 1 man. Or if you have 3 players, you can play with 2 women and 1 man, or 1 woman and 2 men. For all intramural sports co-rec basketball games, the women's size basketball will be used. As a part of our intramural sports program, we have a sponsorship with Buffalo Wild Wings. We talked about the Buffalo Wild Wings playoff draw earlier in this video, but we also want to tell you about the Buffalo Wild Wings Intramural Sports Points Championship. What this is a point standing system where points are awarded to each team that participates in the sport, and points are awarded based on each team's finishing position. The higher you finish, the more points you get, the lower you finish, and miss playoffs, the fewer points you get. To accumulate points throughout the year, teams must keep the same team name. This is a year-long process. If you keep the same team name in every sport, the more sports you participate in, the more points you can get, you will have a better shot at winning. And champions in each division of men's, women's, fraternity, sorority, and co-rec awarded to our Buffalo Wild Wings Intramural Sports Points Championship champions will receive a championship trophy, a $100 gift card to Buffalo Wild Wings, and Buffalo Wild Wings champion t-shirts. So again, sign up for as many intramural sports as possible, use the same team name, and accumulate those points throughout the year, and you will have a chance to win the Buffalo Wild Wings Intramural Sports Points Championship and some cool prizes. If you have your team together and you are interested in getting a scrimmage in, scheduled by the intramural sports staff, we are looking for teams to participate in our scrimmages that will take place in conjunction with officials training on Thursday, January 30th. The first round will begin at 7 p.m., the second round will begin at 8 p.m., and these scrimmages will take place in the South Gym of the Fieldhouse. If you are interested in participating in a scrimmage, please call the Intramural Sports office at 319-335-9292. Your players must all fit the eligibility requirements, and we need teams that will be good sports, as this is our opportunity to provide our officials with live game action to continue to develop them in their training. If you would like to represent the University of Iowa at an extramural basketball tournament, the National Intramural and Recreational Sports Association has a championship series in which regional tournaments are held throughout the country. The closest to us is at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, which is held March 7th through 9th, 2014. You can sign up for this tournament and compete against intramural teams and club teams from other institutions for the right to earn your way to the national tournament. We will once again be having a sponsorship from Champion Brand. This sponsorship will include customized double dry performance shirts for 15 teams, as well as championship t-shirts for our championship teams. In order to get these t-shirts, we will give you a little more information about them. They are available in 4 colors: red, black, royal, and navy. The team names are printed in uppercase letters on the back of the shirt above the number. There's a 12-character maximum for these team names. The shirts say champion on the front, as you can see in that picture on the bottom right of the screen. Each shirt will be numbered 1 through 5 or 11 through 15. These are legal basketball numbers, and they are available in men's sizes small through XXL. In order to get your t-shirts for free, you must be one of the first 15 teams from the University of Iowa to register. To register, you can follow the directions here. You order at www.championsofintramurals.com using your school-issued email address, so the one that ends in @U Iowa. Again, only 15 teams from the University of Iowa can get shirts. Once that order is submitted, no changes can be made, and those shirts will be shipped to the address provided during ordering. Make sure if you order the shirts, you wear the Champion t-shirts during your game. You represent Champion in a positive manner by displaying good sportsmanship, and you will be asked to complete a survey at the end of the year. Again, great deal for the first 15 teams that register. If you are looking for a team to play intramural basketball with, but you don't have enough guys or girls interested, you may attend the free agent meeting, which will be held on Tuesday, January 28th at 2 p.m. in room 201 Fieldhouse. During this meeting, free agents can meet each other to form teams with each other and get signed up for intramural basketball, or team captains looking for more players to fill out their roster can attend and pick up free agents at this meeting. The goal is we want everybody interested to be able to play intramural basketball, so that's why we have this meeting. If you are trying to register but all the spots in all the divisions are full, you can attend our waitlist meeting on Wednesday, January 29th at 2 p.m. We will open as many additional divisions as possible, but if space permits, we may not. We will let you know if we will be having additional divisions to open depending on our team numbers and things like that, but we will have a waitlist meeting on Wednesday, January 29th at 2 p.m. to get all that taken care of and divisions finalized. Intramural Sports offers Friday night series events throughout the year. These are alcohol alternative events on Friday night. All Friday night event series are free registration, so they cost you nothing to participate. The only way you incur charges is if you sign up and then do not show up. The 3 events scheduled for the spring semester are Wiffle Ball, which takes place on February 7th at the Recreation Building, Inter 2 Water Polo, which takes place on Friday, March 7th at the Campus Recreation and Wellness Center, and Late Night Softball. We start the tournament at 8 o'clock at night and play as long as we need to throughout the night. That takes place on April 25th. That is a co-rec event. And again, all Friday night series events are free. Now that you've made it to the end of the video, to complete your registration, you need to complete the following steps. You must pass the captain's quiz. The 20 questions, you must get at least 17 out of 20 correct, and you can use this video as well as Intramural Sports Rules and Regulations document in the Intramural Sports Basketball Rules document. Once you've done that and passed the captain's quiz and named your team, you can start to add players. Once you meet the minimum player requirement, you can pay the registration fee via imleagues.com on PayPal. After you've paid your registration fee, during the registration window, Monday, January 27th at 8 a.m. to 11:59 on Tuesday, January 28th, you can select your day and time, your division, which is when you'll play your regular season games, and at that time you'll select your team t-shirt color. All of these must be completed by 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday, January 28th in order to be included in intramural basketball. If you have any questions about anything intramural basketball related or anything in regards to the intramural sports program, please contact us at 319-335-9292 or email us at intramural-sports@uio.edu. We will get back to you as quickly as possible and get your questions answered. Thank you for your attention during this video. Have a great season.